Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the return of the WSE Lounge. As you see, I got my custom-made shirt on here representing UPIC Live. Today's
Yay!
today's guest is somebody that I've always wanted to interview. I loved the show UPIC Live, and I just want to welcome to the show right now. Without any further ado, he's a former co-host of UPIC Live with Candace Bailey. Please welcome, without any further ado, Brent Popolizio.
Very nicely done. Hey!
Good. I'm glad I got it in there.
Yes, perfect. You did a nice job.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to have you on the show today, Brent.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. I know we were trying to do this for a while. You got hidden in some weird message portal in my Facebook universe. But, yeah, man, I'm happy to be here. Thanks.
You're very welcome. And, I'm glad that things worked out and we got it situated, because a lot of times in Facebook world, messages tend to get hidden, and sometimes people get unfriended without you even knowing.
That is true. Yeah, there's this weird portal that I realized, I think I've been on Facebook for 10 years, and I just realized it. It's like this place where when you're not friends with somebody and they message you, it kind of goes there. And so I actually have lots of people. That's where all the old UPIC Live fans go. They all go in that world. And I realized it one day. I was like, oh, what's this? I clicked on the button, and there's all these 25-year-olds. I don't know how old you are, but I'm assuming you're around 25. All these 25-year-olds.
36.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I know.
So you were like a teenage cartoon watcher then.
Yeah.
So
And
there's two levels of people who watched UPIC Live. They watched them when they were 6 or 7, and then there were those people who were teenage, really into animation. Of course, because SpongeBob was the best thing out there.
yeah.
There were actually 3. So there were the teenage ones, and then there were college kids. So when I would go to a bar after the show, and if I would go to a college-y bar in New York City after the show, there would be people who'd be like, "Oh my God, I totally know you. You're Brent on UPIC Live. We play drinking games to Nickelodeon shows. Can I buy you a beer?" And I had that happen many times. So there's 3 levels of UPIC Live lovers.
Wow. Well, before we get into UPIC Live, I'm going to ask you 2 other questions before we get into UPIC Live. And I want to welcome Chad Leatherwood, Jerry Stubbs, Faye Vaughn, and Katie Farrell. I believe you know Katie as well.
I know Katie.
Okay, well, Katie's on here watching as well. And
Yay, I love Katie.
When did you first know that you wanted to be an actor?
Oh boy. So the first thing I did was when I was 6 years old. My sister is older than me, and they were doing a Christmas Carol for some community theater, and they needed a Tiny Tim, and so I played Tiny Tim, and I remember that I don't know which. I think we did the play a few times. I mean, I was 6 years old. I can't really remember that well.
Mm-hmm.
But what I do remember is I was acting up on stage. So Tiny Tim's supposed to come on, with the crutch and, go to the stage and say, "God bless us, everyone." Do that whole thing. It'd be really sweet, and all the parents are supposed to, cry in the audience and be, really sad and happy about Christmas. And so I got on the stage, and I wouldn't allow my fake dad to pick me up, and I was running around the stage, and and that's not what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to be a cripple. It doesn't work very well.
Yeah.
And so I'm running around the stage, and all of a sudden I hear the audience just cracking up, obviously because they know that I'm not supposed to be doing that and whatever. And I'm sure it didn't happen this way.
Mm-hmm.
This is the way I remember it in my head. Time froze. I looked out into the audience, and I said to myself, "Oh my gosh, You're making all of these people laugh. This is the best thing ever. Don't ever stop doing this. and the rest is history.
Incredible. Well, you knew from an early age that you wanted to be an actor, and this is something that you wanted to do, and you done an excellent job at it. And I want to ask you, speaking of acting, can you tell, because I don't really know anything about this show, but I will admit to you, I have heard of this show. Can you tell us about the show called Clarence and your reoccurring appearances on the show?
Yeah, so Clarence is a really adorable little boy.
Mm-hmm.
It's on Cartoon Network, and he's a really adorable little boy who's got a couple of friends, and they create mischief all over town with a bunch of recurring characters, and it's a really sweet, adorable show. Clarence is sort of a benign misfit, and he's just incredibly lovable. The character I play is Joshua, who
mm-hmm.
is a pubescent teenage hothead who is constantly being annoyed by Clarence and his friends. And the weirdest part about Joshua is that he kind of has a job wherever Clarence and his friends go. So, if they go to the Renaissance Fair, he's working as an actor at the Renaissance Fair. If they're going on an Outward Bound trip, he's the adventurer explorer guide. So I've just had many scenes. I think my favorite one is
mm-hmm.
an episode where the entire school is put into a trance by the sauce that goes with chicken nuggets. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, it's very bizarre. There's a lot of political propaganda in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's really some weird stuff going on there. And Joshua is an employee of this chicken company that is trying to basically create zombies out of all the kids and parents, adults who work at the school. It's really weird and awesome.
Wow. Well,
yeah.
I have to be sure and check that out.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, he kind of reminds me of Dennis the Menace.
Yeah, Clarence is sort of Dennis. Dennis has more of a nefarious streak, I think, than Clarence does. But
mm-hmm.
Clarence certainly gets into trouble like Dennis, for sure. That's a good. I like that analogy, actually.
Okay. Did you? Oh, wait a minute. Sorry about that. I accidentally skipped a question. How much time did it take every day to prepare for a live show of You Pick Live?
Well, we would essentially, I think we would be on for about generally what a regular half-hour show would be
uh-huh.
in the 2-hour block that we were on. So 20 to 25 minutes. I mean, I think sometimes longer, sometimes less, but generally around that time.
Mm-hmm.
And we would get a script the night before. So we would leave the show with a script in hand. We would, I'd review that script that night and in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And those guys, the producers and writers and director and execs would work all day on the show. They started in the morning with a production meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would come in usually 3 or 4 hours before the show would go live. And film a lot of times, especially as we got more complicated, we would film things in advance because there were just too many moving parts or something
mm-hmm.
needed to be edited. So we would shoot those in advance. So we would shoot things, then we would do a full run through of the script, hair, makeup, outfits, costumes, whatever it was, try props, if there were complicated props, things like that, run-throughs of any kind, and then we would go. So, generally about 4 hours before, and a script starting the night before for us. As far as the producers go, I'm sure they were working on things weeks in advance. Obviously, we had robots and all kinds of stuff on that show. So I'm sure they were working for a long time on certain episodes, long before the night before.
So let me ask you this, because this just brought out a great point with you answering this question. Did you ever have a situation, you or any of the other cast members, where you came into work and they said, "Okay, Brent, Candace, we're gonna change things up a little bit, and we're going to go with something different," and you had to actually get yourself prepared for that, like right before you were going on the air?
Yeah, yes. I'll go a step further.
Uh-huh.
That would happen live.
Oh my goodness! Oh no!
Yeah, things would change live. Something didn't work, or something out of the ordinary would happen,
Mm-hmm.
or someone didn't make a cue. Things I would point to, or just wouldn't make sense. Something went wrong, or I just do something blatantly wrong. Yeah. I mean, there were crazy things. I was telling a story to someone else who was interviewing me
Mm-hmm.
recently, and the story was essentially about a celebrity who came on the show, Topher Grace,
Uh-huh.
and we had essentially prepped him. We would prep every guest to do certain things, and we had prepped him to play this or that, which was one of our games that we like to play with our celebrities. They'd
Mm-hmm.
choose one or the other, right? It was very fun and silly, and we'd have a good time. We'd always end on a bang, something that was really fun and exciting. And so at that time, we had told him, okay, well, we're going to end on sign Brent's forehead or sign the Wall of Fame. And so, of course, they're prepping him to say, sign the Wall of Fame, and that's what he would have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, we get on live, and I'm telling people that the guy prepping me, the producer prepping me, had just said, Topher might decide to sign your forehead. And we're going live in like 5, 4, 3, and I'm going, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And of course, we're like, hey, it's Brent, we're back on You Pick Live, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
This or that, and the whole deal. And of course, we get to that last question. I say, sign my forehead or sign the Wall of Fame. And he goes, sign your forehead. And I'm like, holy crap. What do I do? I don't want this guy signing my forehead. So the stage manager, of course, I say, as any true host would, all right, sign my forehead, And the stage manager throws a Sharpie to Topher Grace,
Mm-hmm.
and Topher takes a Sharpie and proceeds to write the word stupid across my forehead. And as it's happening, the producer is saying in my ear, we're wearing ear IFBs, they call them.
Mm-hmm.
We're wearing these so I can talk to the producer, and the director can talk to me in my ear from the control room.
Mm-hmm.
And the producer is saying, he's writing stupid on your forehead. He's writing stupid on your forehead. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And so, of course, I just look right into the camera, deep into the camera, and I'm so mad. And I look deep into the camera and I say, Topher Grace just signed my forehead. This is the best day of my life.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I tell you, I know on that one you were really caught off guard and didn't know what in the world to do.
And you don't. And that's the thing, there are certain hosts out there, hosting seems like such a mundane thing to do, I think. But once
Mm-hmm.
you actually try it, you see guys like Ryan Seacrest, Jenny McCarthy was a great host,
Nick,
Pat Daly on,
Nick Cannon.
these people. Candace was a great host.
Mm-hmm.
And Candace went on to be on Attack of the Show, and she was amazing on that show as well.
Yeah,
Totally
I saw her on that.
audience. It is really hard to host. It is hard to keep it going. It is hard to know how to make everyone feel good, how to make everyone feel like they can say whatever they want, and yet you have these parameters. You got to keep these people in, right? Because you can't really let them say whatever they want.
Oh, yeah,
everybody get in trouble.
Most definitely.
It's an incredible skill, one that I was never that good at. I'll tell you who was great at it, and who I really learned the most from was Dave Azer, who was the host of Slime Time Live, which generally was a show that came on right before us. They were the block that they did before us, and then You Pick Live would come on, and he was incredible. I mean, he just never made a mistake. He was tempered. He was smart. He was really great at getting the guests to just sort of admit things and say stuff. He was really incredible. I apologize for this beeping that's going on. Are you hearing this beeping?
No, I don't hear anything.
Okay. All right, I have this beeping going on. I don't know what it is. It's very bizarre.
Huh.
Sorry.
Well, I don't think Gabardio's doing anything, is he?
We just threw whoever wanted to be in that suit. No, actually, the guy who was in that suit was an incredible writer for the show, mostly, and the producer would get in it sometimes as well. I don't know who else did Garbaggio. I'm sure somebody on our staff knows how many different people were in Garbaggio, but as far as I know, it was one of the writers on the show. He was amazing, and he was also an actor. He's super, super funny, Kevin Marr. And then Jonathan Judge was our producer, and he would get in Garbaggio once in a while as well. Jonathan Judge is absolutely brilliant, just a brilliant producer.
Well, one of the questions I got for you from one of the fans, Harold Martin, says, "Did you have a favorite episode?"
Oh, I don't have a favorite episode, but I have a favorite story arc. We basically, over the course of I don't know how many episodes, told a soap opera. And that
I remember that. What was it? Was it As the World Turns, something like that?
As the World Picks.
Yeah, As the World Picks. Yeah.
And we sucked that bone dry. And it was incredible because what I loved about it was I had, comedy has always been my thing. And at getting this show, I really didn't know what to expect. I really didn't know, I thought it was kids television and it was all going to be really goofy and happy and just sprinkly, sprightly and it turned out that the writers and the executives and the producer, they wanted it to be really weird and have this adult level to it at the same time as this kid level. And what I subsequently learned was that all great kids content has both of those levels going on. An adult can enjoy SpongeBob as much as a kid, Fairly Odd Parents, Ren and Stimpy, all these great, animated shows have that duality, and we would get these celebrities to take the time to do these really bizarre things with us for As the World Picks, this soap opera where we really got to use all of our skills as adult actors, but at the same time doing this very kid-like storyline, this very silly and goofy, over-the-top kind of acting. And so it was really just awesome. And I thought, for me, that was the pinnacle. I think the other pinnacle was the whole thing we did with the Pickles. The band, right? Yeah, and we had Jeff Probst do the documentary, the mockumentary for us, and host that. And at that time, you got to remember, like, VH1's rockumentaries were huge. I mean, they were doing the biggest stars out there, reviving old careers that had died. It was a huge part of MTV was doing tons of documentaries, and MTV News and TRL. So, for us to do that for kids in a silly way was really just such a coup. I thought. It was such what a great job the writers and producer did to have the foresight to see into what those kinds of things could be. I think they're amazing, really incredible.
Oh yeah. I'll tell you, a lot of the A lot of the stuff y'all did on the show was just so cool. I mean, I had never seen anything like it, and that's one thing that caught my attention, to the show. And I mean, I love the entire cast that y'all had on the show, from you to Candace to Gabargio to Pick Boy to Antonio.
Cal.
Yeah, Cal. It was just, it was really cool and neat, and you didn't know what to expect next. And speaking of all the stuff to expect, did you all come up with your own segments, like after like a few seconds with Brent, Candace's Corner, the prize wall, or did somebody else come up with all that?
No, those were all writers, producers, APs. I mean, we certainly had, Candace and I could give our perspective on them, and we had to bring them to life. But no, they were I had a character. Gosh, it's so long ago. I can't remember his name.
Mm-hmm.
But it was basically like Fabio. I was essentially Fabio. Gosh, what was his name? Somebody else will remember. I cannot remember.
Was it the one where you dressed up like Sherlock Holmes? Was that it?
I had long hair, and I can't remember what this character was doing. But gosh, I just love that character. So, I mean, they created so many great characters. Coach Candace and my sports broadcasting.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
Character, I love that character, and they write these things, and then we talk about what I'm going to do, and that character, when I was a kid, actually around the same time as wanting to be an actor, I wanted the first thing I wanted to be was a sports broadcaster.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in Boston, and Joe Castiglione was the Boston Red Sox radio announcer, and I would go to sleep to him in the summers every night listening to Red Sox games. And Johnny Most, if you don't know who Johnny Most is, just go Google him, because I think he smoked like 3 packs of cigarettes every Boston Celtics game.
Goodness gracious.
And he had this incredible voice. He would just talk like this, and he'd say, and Bird has the ball, and blah, blah, blah. And I used to sit there, and I would imitate him, and then Howard Cosell. And Howard Cosell was my absolute favorite. Obviously, he was huge at that time, in the late 70s, early 80s. He was absolutely humongous. And so that character was a cross between Howard Cosell and Chris Berman from ESPN. And I would say it was Howard Cosell and Chris Berman after a couple of cocktails. That was my version of that. And I actually got to do that character. We got to go to the Super Bowl one year, and because CBS and Viacom had made a deal, and they had the Super Bowl, and so we came on very early in the morning. I think it was Nickelodeon started on CBS doing Super Bowl coverage, and then it went to MTV, and then it went to the traditional CBS broadcast. And so we started in the morning trying to get kids all excited about the Super Bowl. And I got to do that character with Marcus Allen, who, again, is someone I grew up with as a huge running back for the Raiders. And it was, to make fun of Marcus Allen and to have this argument go on with him live on camera was just an incredible experience. It's just amazing. So it was really neat to get to do that character.
That's really, really cool, that you got to do that. And I remember when y'all took over the Super Bowl. It was You Pick Live takes over the Super Bowl, and that was very cool. And I thank you, and I believe it was you and Candace and Pick Boy ran some footballs, I believe.
Yeah, and we did another thing with football too. We did something with the New York Giants, which was awesome. And we got to be on the Meadowlands field. I think it was the Meadowlands at that point, and that was amazing as well. Yeah, we got to do so many. Truthfully, I got to meet so many people who inspired me as a comedian. as a young man or as a teenager. So, you know, I got to work with Jim Carrey and Mike Myers and Adam Sandler and Will Ferrell. So many people that I admired as, like I said, as a young actor coming up. It was just such an incredible experience. Got Weird Al Yankovic. I mean, just so many people. And it was awesome that when they came there, because it was a kid's show, I don't know. I mean, I never worked on an adult show as a host. I certainly acted a lot in adult shows, but never as a host. So, but, you know, they always had a different agenda than we had. Our agenda was, hey, thanks for being here. Let's go crazy.
Yeah.
That was kind of our agenda with celebrities. And by and large, they were ready to go. And so to not only work with people that I admired, but to watch them be the best version of themselves, to have fun, and to not hide, and to not be guarded, and to not feel like someone's out to get them or get a quote that would be naughty or something like that. It was really neat to. I think it was a different experience than I think I would have had elsewhere if I was hosting an adult show. Really, truly.
And you know, I want to ask you real quick about one of the I say one, but there was many. The guest y'all had, the guests y'all had on, called the Blue Man Group.
Yes.
Now, what do they do exactly? Because I've heard a lot about them through the years, but I never could figure out what they do, except I never seen them talk.
Well, a tragic story about the Blue Man Group is that I auditioned many times for them, and they would. I'm a drummer, so two of the three qualifications you needed to be in the Blue Man Group were you needed to be a good drummer, a good rhythm, have great rhythm, because they do a ton of rhythmic stuff in their show. I don't know what their show is now. I'm sure it's morphed. I haven't seen it in 15 years. I'm sure it's morphed. But that was one of the prerequisites. And be a really good actor. But it's silent acting. There's no talking in it at all. So everything you're doing as this trio of men covered in blue, you had to do silently. And so it's this really fun, interactive, wild show that they put on where the audience really gets to get involved and have fun and do all these crazy, wild things. And they do all this stuff with rhythm and music and movement and physical comedy. It's really great. It's an amazing show. But I'm short. I'm 5'8", and that's on a good day. I'm 5'8", when I'm in my heels. And so you had to be, I think it was 5'11". I think they wanted everyone to sort of be uniform at that time. I don't know if they still have that prerequisite, but they wanted everyone to be around like 5'10", 5'11" to like 6'1" or so. They wanted these interchangeable parts, and these guys, this group of blue men who could, you kind of couldn't tell one from the other, right? Almost like Minions are today, right? That's sort of what it seemed like. But when we went there to work with them, it was a dream come true as well, because I had auditioned for them and they never let me in, so I wasn't good enough. So I snuck in a different way. I snuck in through the back door, and we did an incredible show with them. It was so much fun. Really, really great time. I love that.
So when they do autograph signings, do they talk to the fans or no?
I don't know. I have no idea. I would assume no. I'm sure if they're in blue still, I guess that they're not allowed to talk. But I really don't know.
Wow. Okay. Maybe something we'll have to look into.
Yeah. They have shows. Gosh, I know they have shows in Vegas, and I know they have a show here in LA and in New York City. I don't know if anywhere else, but I know they do have them in those three cities.
I want to let.
And of course Boston. That's where it started, in Boston.
Oh, okay, cool. I want to let the fans out there know if you got any questions for Brent, comments, please leave them below, and I'll be sure and direct them to Brent, and he'll be glad to answer your questions.
Yeah.
Did you ever think that You Pick Live would become as popular as it did?
No. I didn't even want to do it.
Wow.
I had just gotten a manager, and it was, I really wanted to do like adult dark comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a theater actor. I was doing lots of plays around New York City, and I was doing lots of commercials. And that's how I was making my money, and that's how I was tending to my craft. I remember a friend of mine, Michael Chernus, who's a pretty great actor now, was a great actor then too, but has gone on to be in some great things.
Mm-hmm.
He and I had just come back from the Eugene O'Neill Theater, and it's a summer program, and it's where, really intense stuff. I saw August Wilson read the one of his last plays that he ever wrote. I mean, Bill Irwin was there when we were there. I mean, just really incredible people doing really grown-up stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We did this incredible play with a director who's gone on, Daniel Goldstein, to do amazing things as well. I think what's his name from Modern Family, the redhead.
I can't think of that.
I can't remember.
I know
his
who
name,
you're talking about, but I can't think of his name.
He was in that play with me as well. I mean, just amazing actors in that play. And I remember talking. I got back to New York and got this new manager, and he said, I got this audition for you. And I said, what is it? He said, it's Nickelodeon's looking for a host of a show. And I said, that's not where I want to be. I don't want to be on Nickelodeon, no. And he said, just go, just see what it's all about. Just check it out. And he was a new manager, so I wanted to make him happy. And I went, and I was like, this is pretty weird and pretty cool. Like, this is strange. And, I didn't think, I never think anything of a first audition. Even to this day, I audition for stuff, and I don't think anything about it, and I just go, blah, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you walk away, and that's what you have to do as an actor. You just have to go, I did my best, I did what I wanted, and you walk away. And, a couple of callbacks later, I realized, like, oh, man, they're serious about me. They might want this weird dude who runs around New York City and not some, like, some teenager, teeny bopper kid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so I called my friend Michael Chernus, and I was like, man, what happens if I get this gig? Do I really want to be on a kid's show? And we talked about it. And I just was so unsure about, is this the right thing for my career? And I took the leap, and, thankfully, it's the best thing I've ever done in my career. So I'm really happy that I made the choice to do it. But yeah, at the beginning, I was real reticent to jump on board with it.
Well, I'm glad you made the choice to do it too, because you and Candace did a great job at hosting it. And speaking of Candace, I wanted to ask you, what was it like co-hosting with Candace?
She was amazing. So she was really young. She's like 7 years younger than me. And I think at the time that I got hired, I think I was 26 or 27, somewhere around there. And she was, I don't even think she was 21. In fact, I think we celebrated her 21st birthday at the show, not on the show with kids, obviously, but,
Wow.
But after the show.
Yeah.
And she was green, but she was totally committed and ready to go. And her characters were amazing. She was hilarious. She was in a total boys group sausage party. And, so we're writing all these guyish jokes, these boy nerd jokes that we all loved and thought were hilarious. And she was like, I don't know that reference, and I don't know what you're talking about. But she would just jump in and go for it. And she was incredible. She really was, I had at that point a lot more acting experience than her. And she was willing to listen to me, was willing to let me help. And she really showed me and taught me how to really dig into these characters that were fleeting and silly and yet stay grounded in them and really make them three-dimensional rather than just goofy and two-dimensional. She was amazing at that. Coach Candace, Coachy Coach, as I lovingly called that character. That character was my favorite character she did. She was amazing at that. It was just a wonderful character. But she was really, and on top of that, I didn't spend a lot of time in pop culture. I didn't know much about it. I didn't care much about it. And I was a theater guy, living in the bowels of New York City, way more interested in my friends and partying and what weird things were going on off the mainstream. And so she introduced me back to pop culture and why it was fun. And that was really great. It's great, and to this day, I'm actually grateful for that because I have a 12-year-old and an 8-year-old, and me being involved in pop culture allows me to be much less of a dud in my kids' eyes. They actually think I'm somewhat in the know.
Well, that's good. That's good. That's good for them to be able to know that and think that,
I guess sometimes it's also so sometimes I think they're also like, please stop knowing about pop culture so we can just have our own thing to ourselves and you don't have to butt in. So I think there's a yin and a yang there.
Yeah, there's a good and a bad, I guess.
Exactly, just like there is in pop culture.
Yeah. I mean, so let me ask you this while we're on the subject of. We talked about Garbargio a little bit ago, Candace. I want to ask you if you know how's Candace and Garbargio and Pick Boy, Antonio and Cal. How are all of them doing now? I mean, what are they doing?
They're great. Pick Boy is an executive producer now.
Oh wow!
He is actually. I want to make sure I get his title right. He might be executive producer. He might be co-executive producer. I know those titles mean things. Get it wrong, but he's running the show for Ryan's Playdate on Nick Jr., which is Ryan's Toy Reviews. Are you familiar with him?
No, I haven't. I don't think I watched that.
Oh, Brian. Ryan's Toy Reviews is like, I think he made the most money of any YouTuber in 2018.
Now, I did hear about that.
Yes, and he is a young boy. He's 7 or 8 years old, maybe 9 at this point.
Wow.
And he opens toys, plays with them, has a whole line of toys now on his own, does fun things with his parents, like play time and stuff like that. And then they moved that to a Nick Jr. show, and Jeff is running that. I don't know if I'm allowed to say his name. I mean, whatever. He's the EP, so Jeff Sutton.
Okay.
And then Antonio is one of my best friends. Jeff is a really close friend as well. Antonio is a really close friend, and they Antonio does motivational speaking. He's written, I think, 3 books.
Incredible.
And he goes around to Fortune 500 companies and colleges and talks about self-worth and worth in the workplace and all these different things that are really cool. They're awesome. Candace has 2 kids, if I'm not mistaken, and is living in New York City. And I know she was hosting some different things. She went on to be on Jericho. And then she was on Attack of the Show. And yeah, she said she's doing well. Kevin Mard is a writer and a producer who worked for, I think, Comedy Central for a long time, doing really hilarious stuff. And so he's doing great. And he does these amazing deep dive shows in New York City that are just hilarious on topics of pop culture, where pop culture and art meet. And he does these like sold out shows. They're just incredible. They're really hilarious.
Cool.
Yeah.
And
cow's out to pasture. The cow's dead.
Oh, okay. And
cow got slaughtered, unfortunately. Sad.
I want to welcome Alan Moore, Luke Phillips, Carolyn Young, Spota, I hope I pronounced your last name right, and Morgan Riley. Thank you for watching. I also want to let all you fans know, if you're watching this right now and my head looks sideways or I look like I'm going sideways, I'm really not. I was able to figure this whole thing out, how to flip the words where you can actually see the words straight instead of seeing everything backwards. So just to let you know, I am straight. I'm not going sideways or nothing like that in case you're watching this. Okay.
Hi to all those people as well. Hello, everybody.
Brent says hello to everybody. So I got to ask you, who was your all-time favorite celebrity guest that you had on? Because I know you had many. You had Brittany Snow, you had Cuba Gooding Jr., the Blue Man Group, Jamie Lynn Spears, Adam Sandler. I mean, you just had so many. I mean, who was your favorite?
I think that Adam Sandler was probably my favorite. And we had him on a couple times, but, Saturday Night Live, when his group was on, was really my formative younger years, my sort of teenage years when I was really into Saturday Night Live and into staying up late on Saturday nights. Like, Will Ferrell was in that group that's a little later. Like, I was in college and I was busy on Saturday nights, so I never really caught Saturday Night Live. But in high school, when I was really into it, Chris Farley and David Spade and Mike Myers, Dana Carvey, Adam Sandler. And I loved how relaxed Adam was. And he was from my area. I'm from, like, eastern Massachusetts. And he was from New Hampshire. And so I kind of shared that in common, and I loved just how loose he was. And, at the time he came in, he was really our first. I remember the feeling around the building for Nickelodeon that Adam Sandler was coming in, and we closed the set so that, random people couldn't get on set and be with Adam. And I remember it being like this really big deal. And feeling like, oh man, this show, like PR people, they won't send A-list people to shows unless they know it's worth that A-list's time, right? So as a show, you have to kind of prove yourself first before you can get the big guests.
That's true.
You have talent bookers whose job it is to call these PR people and say, hey, who can I have? Who's doing something that wants to promote something? And who can we get on the show? And blah, blah, blah. And they're constantly working those things out and strategizing these people's careers, right? And so I knew it was a big deal that Adam was coming on. And I knew what a big deal it was to me because I didn't idolize anybody, but I really looked up. I really thought he was amazing, and I loved his career, and I loved his trajectory. And I tell you, at that point, we were only a few months into doing the show, and I still didn't really know what I was doing as far as talking to the kids. I think I was still being very presentational because I was an adult. I was a grown man. And I didn't have kids. Like, now I think I could go on that show and actually really communicate with the kids because I have kids and I get it now. And I didn't get it then. And so I was doing this very presentational thing. And Adam came on, and I remember the very first moment he came on our set. And, we were all looking forward to it. And here he was, Adam with his handlers and everybody in his entourage. All these people came in. And Adam came on, and he was in, like, sweatpants and a T-shirt. I mean, he just looked like a bum, which is hilarious. It was great. It was awesome, right?
Yeah.
And he comes on the set, and the stage manager says to all the kids who were sitting in the little audience we had, maybe 15 kids, whatever. And the stage director says, Adam Sandler, everybody. And the kids go, yay! And to be honest, I don't think the kids had a clue who Adam Sandler was. He had done no kids television at that point, and he was promoting a movie that hadn't come out, which was an animated movie about Hanukkah. And
Wow.
called Eight Crazy Nights. And so they cheered, and Adam was quiet, and he slowly walked over to the kids, and it was really quiet, and I felt like the silence just went on forever. And he looked at them all, and he kind of squinted his eyes, and he said, shut up! And he walked away, and we were all just totally like, what just happened? And in a moment, the kids just all burst out laughing, and they thought it was the funniest thing that this guy just said, shut up to them, and he just walked away in this funny voice, and in that moment, I went, oh my gosh, I don't have to be anything other than me when I'm hosting this show. I don't have to pretend to understand kids and to be a kid on their level. I don't have to do that. I can be me, talking as me, and entertaining these kids, and they'll like me more because I'm being more genuinely and authentically me. I know that sounds very sort of wishy-washy, or not wishy-washy, but sort of woo-woo-y.
Mm-hmm.
But, that's what actors go through, right? We have these moments where things become clear. And remember, we're only working with ourselves. We're only working with the instrument we have. We have nothing to protect us. No PowerPoint presentation. I mean, right? You're a host.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
if you just keep screwing up everything and keep messing up conversations or keep messing up questions, people are going to be like, "What's up with Brian?"
Yeah. It's not easy. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it and everything, and to get the fans' attention, or to you gotta promote stuff and all that, and there's a lot of different dynamics that goes into everything, and a lot of people don't understand that, but you being a host, you understand, and I mean, so there is a lot that goes into it behind the scenes and in front of the scenes that people just don't realize,
Yeah, there's a ton. And that really was, I knew what went into commercials, and I knew what went into theater, because I had done so much of that for so long. But I never understood what went into a TV show. That was my first experience with being on and especially live.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you work so hard, and you get one shot at it. And if it's terrible, it could be the worst piece of crap you've ever said on camera. And you got to move on to the next thing, brother. You got to wipe it away, and you got to just move on. People talk about athletes all the time, right? And there's that, I don't know, if you're a football fan or not, but, they talk about quarterbacks not having, they got to let go of that interception and just get back on the field and get it. And it sounds easy to do, and it sounds simple. It's not. It's really, really hard. You fail, and you're live, and that tons of people just saw you fail. You gotta have a solid ego, man. You gotta be really comfortable with who you are and what you're capable of, and get back up and do it again, and not be asking the audience that next time, like, okay, I know you saw that thing that was really bad. Do you still like me? Are you still okay with me? Because you gotta go out and nail it again. And if you keep asking, no one's gonna like it, right? So it's a wild mind game to play with yourself out there.
And another thing that happens whenever something like that happens, the next thing you know, a minute later, it's all over Twitter. So-and-so just fumbled. They dropped the ball.
Right, exactly.
Trending worldwide.
And I go even a step further. Thankfully, we didn't live in the social media age, right? Our show, we were ahead of the curve. I mean, God knows now, you mess up, you make a mistake, it feels like it reverberates through an echo chamber now when you screw stuff up. It's crazy. I'm kind of glad that we didn't. I'm on the other hand, I'm disappointed that we didn't, because I think our show was the executives who created the show really saw what was trending, what was happening, what the internet was becoming, what interactive media really was becoming. And the problem was the tools weren't there. So we had archaic tools to use in a modern era, because Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Skype, all of these things didn't exist. These tools for modernity didn't exist at that time. We were in this sort of purgatory between, we knew things were becoming interactive, and yet the interactive tools weren't there yet. And so we existed for about 4 years in between those two things. I mean, I think, YouTube was 2006, 2007, somewhere around there, and I think we stopped in 2005.
And I didn't mean to cut you off there. I just wanted to
that's fine.
Ask you really quickly, the daily challenge, how was that done? Did y'all have a voting online or what? Because I done forgot. I mean, I voted before on the daily challenge too, but I can't remember if y'all had the polls online or what.
Yeah, so we had the polls online, and that was another tough part is, you can't, with social media rules, you can't push kids places. Like COPA or COPPA, whatever they are all these rules about social media and, like, advertise, and even before that, I guess, I don't know if it was still under these guidelines, but, like, the way you advertise towards children, like, you can't, it's all these crazy rules, I can't even get into it, but, yeah, so there were all these rules and regulations pushing kids to go to nick.com and blah, 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 where they would see other banners of advertisements and things like that. It was crazy. So, yeah, and we had great people running nick.com and just weren't, couldn't get kids to go there. It was fascinating.
That is, that's very good that y'all had great people to run nick.com and to do that for the show, because it really helped out. And speaking of the show, I wanted to ask you, what was your favorite or least favorite daily challenge to do?
I don't remember specifically. I remember one day we had to go do a daily challenge. It was freezing cold. I mean, it was so damn cold. And we had to go to Central Park, and we had to put on these wetsuits, and we had to do a slip and slide that was covered in clam chowder.
Oh my goodness.
And I remember being so angry. I was so mad. I mean, Candace and I were just hugging each other the whole time, and we had to go and do this thing multiple times, and we were covered in clam chowder, and we stank, and it was awful. And I just remember that being the worst. That was, for me, I think, the worst one I ever did, daily challenge. I did a lot of them. We quickly learned that Candace didn't want to get messy, and the hair and makeup person didn't want to get Candace messy. So I took a lot of those daily challenges for the team. I was willing to get crazy and get messy, and did a lot of those. But yeah, the clam chowder in Central Park was my least favorite ever.
So you mean that you mean y'all were really out in the cold in the snow?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
No, I know. I don't. No, I don't. I know. If I remember correctly, there was no snow.
Uh huh.
It was one of those like New York City ground is frozen type of days.
Oh
where,
my goodness.
But no snow on the ground. No, no. I remember there being no snow. One of my favorite days ever we shot, probably. I don't remember if this was a daily challenge or not. I don't remember how it manifested on the show.
Mm-hmm.
But we had a massive snowstorm, and I think the show was actually canceled because the city was in a state of emergency.
Oh wow.
And I don't remember if it was that day or the next day. I think it was that day. Boy, these things are so hard for me to remember. I remember doing them, but I don't remember the circumstances around them so well.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember we all ended up in New York in Times Square with basically no one because there was no traffic, and we had a snowball fight. And that was one of the coolest things I ever remember doing, was having a snowball fight in Times Square with basically no one around. That was really, really cool.
Awesome. That sounds cool right there.
Yeah, that was so cool. I also loved traveling the country. I got to do a lot of traveling to cities that, weren't on my radar to go and just, visit. I was a New York City kid and Boston kid, and I got to go to all of these amazing cities, like Kansas City and St. Louis and Atlanta and, all down in Florida, and through Nickelodeon, because we would host these live events, these get out and play type of events and different things that were going on. And it's really awesome. Those really getting out and being with kids who love the show.
Mm-hmm.
For me, that was such an amazing part of understanding the value of what we were doing, the fun that we were bringing to kids' lives. When we went to a city that wasn't New York City, no kids recognized me in New York City because they're all jaded and they didn't care and they didn't watch. And but kids in Kansas City were watching, and they knew when I was coming, and they knew when Candace and I and Pick Boy were going to be there, and they would line up for autographs. And that was such a cool experience when I got to see, like, oh my gosh, these kids really watch this show and they really think I'm cool. And they really listen, and they know things, and they participate in the show actively, and that was awesome. It was really, really amazing. I never, as tough as all shows get to do, and things, the minutia of things get overwhelming and annoying, I never lost sight of really being grateful for kids loving the things that we were doing. It was always the best part of the show, that kids loved what we did, and it was awesome.
Well, I'm about to bring back a little bit of a game. It's inspired by You Pick Live, and it's three questions. Would you rather?
Okay.
And the first question is, would you rather skateboard with nachos and cheese in your hand, or would you rather ride a bicycle while eating ice cream?
I'm going to say bicycle, because I cannot ride a skateboard.
Okay.
So that would last for about a total of 1 second, and I would be so angry that my nachos fell. So I'm going to risk it on the bicycle with ice cream.
Okay, the second question. Would you rather rap like LL Cool J or sing like Justin Timberlake?
Oh man, I gotta sing like Justin Timberlake. I mean, they are both sexy icons for sure. So being either one of them would be a humongous step up from my nerd town existence. But yeah, Justin Timberlake, to be able to dance like that and sing and do comedy the way he does, I'll take JT.
Okay, and the last question is: would you rather wrestle Garbaggio or go skiing?
Okay, so skiing is my favorite thing to do. I ski all the time. My kids are great skiers now, and we just love skiing. So that's too easy. I'm going to go with Wrestle Garbaggio.
Okay.
For the simple fact that I never actually got to wrestle him. And, there was some beef there. I feel like, sometimes he stole the spotlight a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I was mad that he would just grumble his way. He had a little bit of back talk or grumble talk back to me, which kind of pissed me off. And so I would totally like to kick Garbaggio's ass sometime. I would enjoy that.
Okay, did he ever lose that title or no?
Oh man, you got to consult the archives. I do not remember. There were some controversial moments. I do know that, but I don't know if he officially ever lost a title or not.
Okay. Do you think that You Pick Live will ever be released on DVD?
No, I don't. I know it. It has a special place in the heart of Nickelodeon. But because of what it was as interstitials, I don't think that they would ever do something like that with it. There used to be a little in one hallway of Nickelodeon's corporate office. There was a little You Pick Live museum for a while. I don't know if it still exists.
That's cool.
There used to be a little museum there, which was really fun. But yeah, I think because it wasn't a traditional show, I don't think it would ever make it to DVD.
Okay, and would you be up for a You Pick Live reunion on TV?
All day, every day.
Okay, and why did You Pick Live get canceled?
I think it had run its course. I think I don't know. Look, there are two sides to all of that, and one side is the executive side, which I know nothing about. I do know that for Candace and I, we felt like we were ready to move on. We felt like it was time. Looking back, I think I should have stayed. I think I should have put my energy into trying to make that go for a few more years, because you don't get, as a performer, you don't get many experiences like that. You just don't. This business is a business, and rightfully so. Most people treat it like that, and that was a family. And having been doing this as long as I've been doing this, there's only been a few things that I've done in my life where I felt like the people I was working with were family, and that was one. And so looking back, I wish it had gone on for a few more years. But like I said, everyone, it all seemed ready to just come to its natural end. But I don't know. But I don't know what happened on the executive side. So I'm saying what I saw happen, what I thought happened. But in the end, I really don't know exactly. But yeah, it was a family, and we have the pictures and the off-camera video to prove it. what kind of family we really were. It was amazing.
And when, because I've asked this to One Life to Live stars and all my children's stars that have been on here, because their respective soap operas were canceled in 2013. What was it like for you when you first heard that You Pick Live was being canceled?
I was sad, but I think I think I had understood it. I think I saw it coming. there were certainly light conversations about contracts and would I be interested in another contract, and nothing was ever formal, but those questions, and I was like, I don't think so. I'm not so sure. So I think I think I was sad, but I think I was ready to. At that time, I was ready to move on. I thought, okay, I did this 3 years, 3 seasons. I'm ready. I'm ready to go do a sitcom. I'm ready to see what next adventure. And little did I know that the next adventure in my life was having a family. That was really the big adventure. I went back to doing a lot of commercials and auditioning and having small, one day part roles on television shows. But really, my next adventure was making a family. And that's what I did for a long time, and then I got into producing, and that's most of what I do now. And I still act, but yeah, I think I was ready to go.
So, and my closing question to you, Brent, do you have any upcoming projects that you would like to promote?
Well, I'm going to be on an episode of 911 on Fox, but I haven't even shot it yet. I'm shooting it next week.
Okay.
So I don't know what episode it is. I don't know anything about it, and I'm sure I'm not allowed to say what it is anyway. But it will be on that. And you can check out my series of commercials for 76 Gas, which I've been doing for the last 2 years. They're online, called Van Life, and they're very funny. You just type in 76 Gas Van Life, and I guarantee it'll come up. There's a ton of them. There's like 14 or 15 of them.
Okay.
And now I produce content for Life of Dad, which is the largest community of dads on Facebook in the world, really.
So, what is that exactly?
So we put up comedy content, funny GIFs and memes and video content. We work with brands to promote dad parenting. We do social media stuff that talks about how dads aren't babysitters and dads are a huge part of the family life, and sort of, questioning the status of what the old dad is and ringing in the new modern dad. That's really what we do. And I love it. It's a huge part of my life, obviously, being a dad of 2 young boys. And creating content and creating comedy is what I love to do the most. So I do a ton of that.
Okay, so really quick question about Life of Dad. Do you ever... Because there's another person, a soap opera star, I don't know if you know him, Brendan Burrash. Him and another guy do a thing called Fathership.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and they talk about parenting too, of single parents parenting their child and stuff. And I believe they do that on Facebook as well. It's called the Fathership.
Oh, cool. Fathership. I'll check it out. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. But Brent, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be on the return of the WSE Lounge. It was great to have you on, and I wish you the best in your future. And I'll be sure and keep in touch with you through Facebook, of course. And hope you have a great rest of your week and a great weekend.
Thanks, Brian. I really appreciate your time so much, and it's awesome to still have people who love the show and to still be honored in this way. I really appreciate it, man. Appreciate you. And everybody watching as well. Thank you.
You're welcome. And also, I wanted to let you know that I will upload this episode to YouTube, and then I'll put it out there on your page so your fans can go back and watch it.
Awesome. Thanks, Brian.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Have a great day. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was former co-host of You Pick Live, Brent Popolizio, and And next week coming up, I will be welcoming songwriter, singer, and cover artist Carl Letts will be on the WSE Lounge. And in 2 weeks, 2 weeks from today, I've got a very special guest coming to the WSE Lounge from the wrestling world. And this guest right now is on a roller coaster ride of momentum and is going to really be an amazing person one day in the wrestling business. But they'll be here 2 weeks from next week. I'll be announcing who they are on next week's show. I hope you all enjoyed that. Hope you all have a blessed week. I will see you back next Tuesday on the WSE Lounge for another great episode. And that's all for me here on the WSE Lounge.